In the world of video games, there are plenty of competitive sports titles. But games like Windjammers, for example, offer players an arcade-like experience with a game that isn't technically a sport, but instead offers a sports-like competitive spirit that many gamers crave. So, are there any other games out there that offer this kind of experience? Well, the strength of a solid two-player experience has certainly been experimented with in the past. And today, we're going to be doing a little bit of our own experimenting. That's right, it's time for us to start playing with our ball jacks. Okay, so the puns are not going to get much better from here. But the review will. Roll that intro.
Namco.
Ball Jacks was released in Japan and PAL regions on the Mega Drive in 1993. Developer and publisher Namco wanted to make a game that was simple to learn yet tough to master, and they succeeded with Ball Jacks. Despite most gamers never hearing about this game, does its obscurity signal a proper reason for it to remain hidden in the shadows? Or is this a title that will keep you coming back for more? Open your mind and prepare to check out my Ball Jacks.
Yo, I'm not sorry.
When we start the game up, we're treated to a plot synopsis about ball jacks. Yes, this game actually has a plot. In the year 7650, there was an event on a space-wide scale. It was at least a simple game. Okay, this is some seriously cringeworthy English here. Two men scrambled balls riding robots. However, colossal wealth and honorable title were given for the winner. People grows to deliver up their possessions for the acquirement of the strongest machine.
What? What the hell did I just read?
Basically, to summarize, after some sort of catastrophic event, humans fought for money and honor while inside crab-like machines. They battled to see who has the most powerful robot in the world, or at least that's what I get out of this. When you start the World Championship single-player mode, the game tells you that you're now standing in the middle of the metropolis, which I think they mean arena. Of course, they follow it up with, "Here commence a hot battle from now on."
Clearly their minds were in the gutter too.
You go through 6 stages in World Championship mode, fighting tougher opponents with each win. Taking charge of your orangey robot crustacean, you use the A and B buttons to throw your claws across the playing field to grab the rolling metal balls behind your opponent. These are constantly on a conveyor belt, and by grabbing 1 or 2 balls, your claws automatically begin to bring the balls back to your own conveyor belt behind you. There's a timer in the center of the screen on each side of the playing field, with 1 for each player. The numbers vary depending on which enemy you face off against. Some of the enemies have only 2 or 3 points for health, but some have 5 to 7. You generally don't see many with 10, despite the game usually giving you 10 points. The purpose is to get all 4 balls on your belt, causing your opponent's score to begin dropping digits. If your score goes to 0, you lose. Or, if your opponent's score drops to 0, you win. However, there are other variables to take account for, some of which are a bit confusing. Usually there's a lot of back and forth in ball jacks. You grab a ball while the enemy grabs one of your balls. The thing that makes the gameplay interesting here is the unpredictability of the balls, as well as the death and respawn of the robots. If you smack your opponent's balls into them, it causes damage, or if you grab one of the balls out of their hands, it may fall back towards them, causing armor pieces to fall off and expose more of the inner workings. Just keep in mind they can do the same thing to you. With a few well-placed hits, the damage will send you or your opponent into a panic, with buzzers and sirens going off. The middle opens up, and you have to get to the middle of that platform to send your robot in for repair. You'll crawl slower than usual due to the wear and tear, and this gives the opportunity for the opponent to capture all 4 balls and drain the opponent's score, while the pit crew repairs the robot underneath the playing field. This generally takes about 5 to 6 seconds, but don't worry, you'll definitely think it'll go by faster if you mash the buttons. There's a few things that make this game a bit unpredictable, and that may either keep you interested or frustrate you, depending on how you feel about it. For starters, sometimes when you grab a ball frantically, it will bounce all over the place, and it could possibly go back to your opponent, or it may work out in your favor and damage them, or it'll enter your conveyor belt quicker than normal. On the other hand, it could also damage you as well. There are spots to hide if you want to avoid getting hit, by sliding your robot to the top or bottom of the platform, allowing you to avoid almost all confrontation. However, this leaves your conveyor belt and captured ball's defenses wide open. By pressing the buttons gently, you can use the claws to almost fake out your opponent, which can also be used to smack the balls they're stealing away, putting them back into your possession. Naturally, there's a two-player mode, which is the real meat of the game when it comes to replayability.
Oh, but none of my friends are here.
I'll play with you.
Hey, you're me. Well, sort of.
Actually, I'm Shadow Nintendo. Yes, that's right, folks. We're going with the Legend of Zelda reference on this one.
You sure there's nobody else on YouTube that does like a shadow version of themselves during their reviews? I could have sworn there was somebody.
What the hell, man? You couldn't say my name? Jeez. I mean, I know you're not great with names. After all, look at the name of your show. Yeesh. Talk about long-winded.
Similar to the one-player championship mode, the two-player mode has you facing off against a friend in a best-of-3 matches. Here the action gets much more frantic because each person's playstyle may be a bit unpredictable. The training mode or time trials in one-player mode is a good warm-up for newbies and is recommended so players can catch up quick on how to play. There's a few options to customize in two-player mode, including the time limit, the difficulty, and the number of wins. It's strange, but even though this is a video game, it feels more like a sports game to me than even regular sports games. Take that, NBA Jam.
Terrible shot!
There's a great tiebreaker system which really revs up the adrenaline levels. However, getting to it can be difficult, as you sometimes never really know how well you did. There's some internal system that judges how well each player does. I'm not sure if it's factoring in times you or your opponent send the other person in for repair, or if it's based on however many hits you successfully make, but the object of the tiebreaker portion is simple. Get 3 balls total onto your belt at once before the other player does. These moments are very exciting, and while rare, they still get me excited in the heat of the moment. Ball jacks.
Say, why don't we make this interesting? Loser goes to the Shadow Dimension forever?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, loser goes to the Shadow Dimension forever.
What?
I'll give you all my games if you win.
Let's do this! Time to play with our ball jacks!
Really?
Control-wise, I think the tightness of how well this game controls is both a blessing and a curse. See, the fact that you can bring your claws back anytime makes the game a bit too easy, but at the same time, it feels liberating to be able to have free range on your attacks. And it really adds a nuanced level of experience that's required to get better at the game. Much like Windjammers, practice makes perfect, and practicing is a heck of a good time. While the visuals do a great job of maintaining a clean-cut style, in more advanced levels, the design of the balls gets a little bit crazier, making it harder to focus on what's going on. After you beat the World Championship stages, you'll be given a shot at the Galaxy Championship, despite the fact that the text at the end tells you you got it at the same time as the World Championship. Oh, and let's not forget that you should start for the coming encounter all over again.
Let the record state I had no hand in that innuendo.
When you get back to the main screen, hold up, right, and press start, and you'll enter into the Galaxy Championship, which has way tougher opponents and a cool multicolored set of balls. Unfortunately, I could only get to the second level on this mode, despite numerous attempts. It's a tough cookie, so if you felt that the World Championships were too easy, get ready to get your balls jacked.
Okay. Little guilty on that one.
I love the music in Ball Jacks. It's got a big band, jazzy vibe that's as fresh and fun as it is energetic, and these tunes will definitely be stuck in your head while you play, and maybe even afterwards too. It reminds me of the Genesis soundtrack to Side Pocket, so if you like that soundtrack, you'll dig this one. It can be relaxing and provide a rush all at once. Ball Jacks is a blast, and totally worth picking up if you can find it. It's still relatively inexpensive to import, and if you're into couch multiplayer games for you and your friends to play, I'd highly suggest giving it a shot. And yes, it does work on a Sega Genesis, so for those of you in North America, you should be able to play this one, though you may have to cut the tabs on your system, or you might have to get a Game Genie in order to play it, but that's your call. It's fun. Ball Jacks.
Alright, this is the final match. Are you ready to be defeated?
Ha! In your dreams!
Looks like my dreams just came true. Enjoy the Shadow Dimension, Nintendo. Sayonara.
Oh no!
Thank you to the following patrons. Your support means the world to me.
This is worse than the time you had an intro that didn't last more than 20 minutes.
Want more Dude You Haven't Played This Game? Make sure to stay subscribed to the channel and check out these videos enclosed below. As always, thanks for watching.